Is it focused? Stay focused. Please, thank you. I've been having a lot of trouble with it focusing. I have restarted this like 10 times because I cannot focus on my talking because I'm focusing on the camera focusing. Thank you for working with me. Please stay. Okay. So, when I was uploading, don't start with me. When I was uploading the Levia and Rose video, I happened to notice my old video diary from months ago that was supposed to be a series, and I never did anything else with it, so I thought I would make another one. Now that it's months later and so much has happened. I think last time, if I remember correctly, last time I talked to you guys, I was, in my words, at rock bottom. And I am pleased to announce that I think pretty much everything that was bothering me has been resolved. Jesus Christ. I'm pretty much the opposite of rock bottom right now, except the fact that this focusing is driving me crazy. But, I am very happy. I might not look it right now, but I'm very happy. Probably for the first time in my entire life. I mean, I've been happy in moments. See, this is the thing. Me and Christopher were talking about this last night. I feel like I've been happy in moments of my life. Like, I've had joyous moments where I was having fun, like with friends on a summer night, drive in a car, and singing at the top of our lungs, and at the beach with the person who I thought was my soulmate, like, splashing in the water and feeling the waves just push you around, and, long drives with my mom and talking to her about, like, random things that I've never talked about with anyone before, even my dad, because even though me and my dad talk, like, for hours and hours, sometimes there's just some things that, you can only talk about with your mom. So, my point is that I've had joyous moments in my life where... The fuck? Thank you! I'm just gonna hold my hand here the entire time. I need to learn sign language and this wouldn't be a problem. Anyways, so the point is, I've had a lot of moments in my life where I felt thrilled to be alive, where I could be like, I could live in this moment forever, and this is what happiness feels like, and this is why I'm alive, and stuff like that. But I feel like in the background, in the back of my mind, there was always a deep, what's the word, subtle sadness. Kind of like when you have a bruise. It's not a stabbing pain. Dull. That's the word I was looking for. Dull pain. Like when dull sadness. Like, it's not a stabbing, overwhelming sadness, like when you get depressed and all you can think of is, I want to kill myself. But I feel like in the background of every feeling, there was always a dull, subtle sadness that just made me feel like, I don't know, even, like, when I was happy, it was more like I was trying to convince myself that I was happy. Like, I was constantly having an internal dialogue of, this is why you're living, this is what life is about, this is happy, this is a good memory, this is positive, this is something you need to remember. Like, this is a core memory, don't forget this. And, it's like I was trying to force myself to feel happiness, and sometimes it worked, but it never fully, like, overpowered the sadness. Like, I was just, like, I feel like I was depressed for like 20 years. Like my whole life, like ever since I was a kid, like I just remember being like 8 and laying in bed at night praying to God that I would get cancer so that I would just pass away and I wouldn't have to kill myself, so that my family wouldn't be mad at me or wouldn't, like, you know, there would be a reason for it, so everyone wouldn't be confused, and like, you know, so that, like, it's justifiable that you pass away from a fatal illness. And what the whole point of this tangent was is that for the first time in my life, I feel genuinely happy. Like, I'm not trying to convince myself that I'm happy. Like, sometimes I just close my eyes and I just feel happy. And some days I do have to do a little of convincing, like you wake up and you forgot to take your medicine last night and you're kind of having a panic attack. And you look at the person next to you and you just feel afraid and confused, and it's just like sometimes you have to do a little bit of self-talk, positive self-talk, reframing your mind, and remind yourself. It's not so much convincing, it's reminding yourself, yesterday you were happy, last night you were happy, the day before that you were happy, so you're still happy. Like, you don't need to worry, you're just overthinking. But aside from that, I'm happy. I love my life. I feel like I finally found peace with pretty much everything that I was struggling with. And I think I've found that because I've found someone who struggles with pretty much all the same things that I have. And seeing yourself reflected on someone else, like seeing another walking human that's just you, it's easier to figure out how to solve your problems, because, you know, the thing where people say you should talk to yourself like you would talk to a loved one. It's easier said than done, because when it's yourself, you sit there and you're hard on yourself, harder than you would be on a loved one. And it's not until you have to really put it into practice, like talking to someone who goes through exactly what you're going through and telling them exactly how to solve their problems, and like not just how to solve their problems, but solving their problems for them, like doing what you needed someone to do for you. You really learn a lot about yourself, and you learn that you're not alone, that you're not wrong or broken or useless or too much. Like, you still love this person. You see, they're doing what you did. They're acting out in the same ways that you did. They're crying about the same things that you cry about. They're having panic attacks over nothing. Over, like, a very simple, lighthearted conversation. They're freaking out. And these are all things that you were made to feel like the scum of the earth for doing. But you see this, and you have that internal dialogue of, I still love this person. I just want this person to calm down and be safe. And I will wait until that happens. I will just talk to them and hold them and wipe their tears away and give them whatever they need until they feel happy and safe again. And you do what you needed, and you think, you know, it wasn't my fault that I was going through this stuff. I didn't do anything wrong by having feelings. It was the other person making me feel like I was doing something wrong that was in the wrong. And it took me so long to figure that out. It took me so long to figure that out because I thought I was in love and that I would do anything for them, that I had to change everything about myself to be worthy of their love, that they were just amazing, that they were the best thing that had ever happened to me, that they were perfect, and I needed to be perfect for them. And what I've come to learn in studying psychology is there's a difference between true love and limerence. Limerence is like an unhealthy obsession with someone, where they're basically a god to you. They're like the best thing that you've ever seen in your entire life, and like you're not just in love with them, you don't just care for them, you're obsessed. You need to just be around them all the time, or you feel like you're nothing. You need to like make them happy, or you're nothing. Like, and any little thing that you do that makes them unhappy is like the worst thing that you could ever possibly do. You feel like you killed a child, and then so you freak out more, and then you're just more unstable because you're constantly like on edge, thinking like, I don't deserve this relationship, like this is too good for me, like I'll never be good enough. And then you act like you're not good enough because you're convincing yourself that you're not good enough, and like nothing you ever do will ever please them is basically how you feel. And I'll go back to that in a minute, because I want to say a little bit more about that. The difference between that and true love is true love, you're equals. You know that you're equals. You feel like they're your other half. Not necessarily, I've always hated the phrase your better half, because they're not better than you. Even if you think they're amazing and perfect and you have some insecurities, at the end of the day, that they're your other half. You're equals. You treat each other with respect, mutual respect, and you don't look up to them, but you look straight on at them, and you face everything straight on as equals, and you know that you deserve each other. You feel like they feel like peace and not a source of stress all the time. And instead of adrenaline and like obsession and lust, it's more like the opposite of adrenaline, but like total full body calm. And like it's like when you crack your knuckles, like that feeling, that like rush of not adrenaline, I keep wanting to say adrenaline, that like rush of like release, kind of like, not to be like not suitable for work, but kind of like an orgasm, but like in your heart. Like you're just like, woo, release, happiness, peace, calm, perfect, this is great, nothing to stress about here. You trust each other 100%. Like, you know that you can count on them, that they're not going to leave you, that nothing you do without malice will change how they feel about you. Like, if you come from a good place and they come from a good place, and you know that you're trying your best, and they see that you're trying your best, and they believe that you're trying your best, and you look at them and you believe that they're doing the best that they can, and you help each other do better instead of making each other feel like crap for mistakes that you make. I could go on and on about how amazing love is, but there's a difference, clearly. And what I was experiencing before was a form of limerence. And I've come to realize that that is not love, and what I was feeling was not effects of love. I was feeling very stressed and broken up all the time, and basically, like, without that, I was nothing. And I've took a long time to be on my own and know what I deserve and who I am and what compliments me the best. And when I found that, I don't feel afraid of it anymore. I feel like, yeah, that was always supposed to be there. It's like I found myself on the street and I'm like, there you are. Where have you been? I've been looking for you for 20 years. Like, come on, you're here now. Let's get moving. Like, it's not like, oh my god, this is like, I've seen God. It's just like, yep, there's my missing sock that I lost in the 5th grade in the washing machine, stuck in one of the little crevices. Of course, it's been there the whole time. God, now I can finally have matching socks, you know? I don't know. So, my point is, for the first time I feel very, good. And, I feel fully healed from everything. So, I don't have, like, gaping wounds anymore that, like, just randomly pain me. But I do have scars that, when I see them or see something that reminds me of them, sometimes I do still panic. And I do still, lose my cool a little bit, lose my peace a little bit, stirring up a little bit of mischief, a little bit of trouble. And I wrote a little, not like a script, but like points that I wanted to talk about. And, I guess what bothers me the most, that like still makes me lose my cool a little bit, and makes me anxious, and makes me have a bad time, is that now that I feel level-headed and feel healed and feel calm for the first time in my entire life, which being bipolar, I've never, ever, ever felt calm. Even when I'm quiet, my head is usually going 1,000 miles per hour, and I'm usually on the verge of a panic attack every 2 seconds. Like, I am always right on the brink of having a panic attack. Like, the smallest thing could just make me freak out. And so for the first time, I feel calm and cool and collected. And, what bothers me the most, that still gets me upset, is that now that I have time to look back and reflect, and research, and, figure out what went wrong and why it went wrong, I am made to feel like the bad guy for focus, please, for sharing my truth, for being honest. Like, I am made to feel like I am doing something wrong by telling my story and trying to help other people. And, that sometimes really bothers me. Feeling like I just told them what happened. I didn't start rumors or try to ruin anybody. I've never, like, gone to anybody's friends or family or, anything and tried to, like, start drama. I've never, like, I'm the chillest person that I've ever met. And everyone who I'm friends with right now would agree that I'm a chill guy. I freak out in private, sometimes with my partner, But for the public world, like, that's my own little sphere of darkness. For the public world, I'm very good at masking. I'm very good at maintaining face. Part of it's being an actor, part of it's being a woman in a world where you are ridiculed for having emotions. Part of it's a trauma response. But whatever it may be, I don't like to be seen as crazy. Because I've been told I'm crazy enough. I've been told I'm psycho enough. I've been the bad guy enough. I would never do anything to put myself in that situation on purpose. I would never do anything to put anyone else in that situation on purpose. Because I know how terrible it feels to be made to feel like you're insane. And maybe I am a little bit insane, but I mean well all the time. Everything I do with a good heart. I just want to spread positivity and light and beauty and wonderfulness, and I would never want to put anything bad into the world. This world is dark enough. I've been hurt enough. I don't want to hurt anybody else. I don't want to cause anybody pain. I just want to help people. And by talking about stuff that I've been through that has hurt me, I know other people, it will resonate with them and it will help them. And to be made to feel like I'm doing something wrong by doing that, or like I am causing problems by doing that, or like that, I don't know, just it feels like I'm being silenced. Like I'm afraid to use my voice, and I have been afraid for way too long. I don't want to be afraid anymore. I'm not afraid of you anymore. And I know I've made mistakes. We all know that everybody makes mistakes. I've hurt people. I've hurt myself. Probably more often than not, it was me hurting myself. And I was made to feel like me hurting myself was in turn hurting them, and so I was hurting them, and so I was doing something wrong, and that I was manipulating them, or doing it for attention, or doing it to get out of an argument, or just being dramatic when I lost my mind. I've struggled with my mental health and self-harm since I was 8. Well, my mental health since I was 8. Well, I've been struggling since I was 4. But, I would say I started getting suicidal around 8, and I started self-harming around 11. So, it has been a long, hard journey of treating myself well. And I would never do that I've hidden it. I've hidden it for most of my life. I would never do it for attention. I would never, want anyone to know. And if someone sees it, if I'm freaking out, what I mostly do is I'll, hit my thighs, which really hurts right now because I've been exercising a lot, and, my thighs are sore. But anyway, so I'd, hit my thighs, and sometimes it was to the point that they bruised. And, I've done that in front of past partners, and, they didn't react well to it. And I feel bad that I stressed them out by doing that. And they made me promise to change and get better and, learn healthy coping mechanisms, and I did. I haven't done that. I haven't done that since the last time I did it with that person. And, okay, I'll get to that in a minute. I haven't done that since the last time I did it in front of that person. And, I've done a lot of things. I've freaked out and, felt triggered like I was being abused again, or something like that. Something that set me off. Like, I was, like, sometimes I would be in a fight, a verbal altercation, and someone might stand over me, and, I would, like, put my hands up, like, because I was afraid that they were gonna hit me, and they would yell at me and tell me that I was being dramatic and that I was manipulative because I was making it seem like they were physically abusing me and blah, 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 when I wasn't. My therapist has told me that she thinks that I have childhood PTSD, and I agree, because I do get, like, these vivid flashbacks where I feel like I'm really there. It's like, you're not even there anymore. Whoever's in front of me is not there anymore. It's someone who's hurt me. It's happening again. They're gonna hurt me. And I respond in ways to that situation. And I've tried to describe it as it's almost like I'm blacking out. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I just want to protect myself. I want to get out of that situation, which I'm not someone who responds to flight. I either freeze, which freezing for me can look like going catatonic, or like huddling up like this, or like, that might be flight. That might be, like hiding away from the situation, or, fighting. Like, I get more aggressive because I think if I get louder, if I get, bigger than them, then I'll be safe. And, they don't realize that it's not manipulation tactic. It's not trying to make them seem like they're in the wrong for, whatever they may be doing. It's just that it reminded me of a situation that was not good and made me feel not good. And I was responding perhaps in a way that was not good because I felt unsafe. And, I was constantly made to feel like this was all my problem, that I had to solve it, which it is my problem. My mental health is my problem, but I'm just saying they were making it seem like this is all your fault, like the way that, like, you stressing me out by having bad mental health, like, you need to change it, you need to stop being dramatic, you need to stop manipulating me, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, it's just hard to think about it. Whatever the case may be, like, basically that I was the bad guy for being severely traumatized. That's the only way to put it. And I don't like throwing that word around. A lot of people say that I talk about that too much, or that, I, like, use it as an excuse. It's not an excuse. It literally takes over your whole life. Like, when it starts, when you're not even in school yet, like, you're still a toddler, and you're still, your brain hasn't even half developed yet. You build your whole life around this situation and this fear and this trauma, and you grow and respond to the rest of your life as that 4-year-old. Like, you don't know. I don't know. You don't know any other way, because it's been your whole life. Like, situation after situation after situation just keeps making you feel like this is what love is, this is how the world is. You should be afraid, you should be on guard, you should be, like, I don't know, it's just, I felt like I was always 1 second away from breaking down because I thought I was always 1 second away from being hurt again. And, responding to that kind of omnipresent fear by breaking them down and making them feel like they're doing something wrong, by being afraid, it's not fair. You should be gentle with someone's mental health when they're that. I know I said I wasn't broken and damaged, but broken and damaged is going to work really well in this situation. So when someone's that broken and damaged, you should be gentle with them. Like, handle them with care. Treat them like you would a crying 4-year-old. Because that's who they are. Like, stop telling them, like, stop crying about stupid stuff. Just grow up. You're an adult. You shouldn't be crying about ketchup. Like, you wouldn't go up to a little toddler and be like, stop crying, you're being dramatic, you're just looking for attention, like, you're manipulating me by making me feel bad for talking about this thing that made you cry. Like, no, they're mentally stuck in that age where this whole trauma first started. That response is their instinct, and you have to be gentle with them. You have to treat them like you would that damaged child, that hurting child, and be patient with their pain. And when I finally found someone who got it, who went through the same things that I did, who was patient with me, that's where I found peace. That's when I finally started to heal, because instead of just always being met with, you're doing something wrong, you should feel bad about this, they just waited it out, held me through it, rocked me through it, talked me out of it, like, gave me support, gave me love, gave me patience. It stopped happening. Like, I'm doing great. I haven't had a mental breakdown in... I can't think of the last time. Because I'm happy. I feel safe. Because this person treated me like precious instead of like a monster. And realize that the good outweighs the bad. Like, instead of making it feel like every single time you break down, this is the worst thing you've ever done, and I'm leaving you because I can't take this anymore. Like, you're always crying. Just being patient and being logical and saying, you know what, she does break down sometimes, but the good outweighs the bad. The good is so, so good and magical, and all of our good days are the best days of my life so far. There are some bad times, but it's worth it to be with this beautiful, magical person who treats me really well. You know? And then I learn how to cope. And I learn how to, you know, accept love and give love, because I'm experiencing love for the first time instead of just being met with hate. And, so it's hard to feel like the bad guy for talking about this stuff. Because escaping someone who's narcissistic, escaping someone who thinks that they're always right, that it's them above everyone else, that that you're not a priority, that your mental health doesn't matter, that your intentions don't matter, it's just how you make them feel, that never sees anything from your perspective. They make you feel like you're crazy. Because every time you try to talk about your feelings, you're wrong. Every time you try to explain why you thought that way, you're wrong, or you're lying, or they don't trust you, or you're being dramatic, or you're manipulating them. So then you start to think, maybe I am being manipulative, maybe I am crazy, maybe I am the toxic one. You start to doubt yourself and think that you're the problem, and then you lose your whole sense of self. You can't trust yourself anymore, because when you have feelings, you think, no, you're wrong, you're bad. You feel like a child again who's being scolded. You're like, no, that's bad, that's wrong. And you don't let yourself process anything because you're just shoving everything down. And then when you finally realize, come to your senses, and you think that it's too much, that you realize you're not wrong. There's times where they're just love bombing you and making you feel like they're the best thing that ever happened to you, and that goes back to the limerence thing, where you're like, yeah, maybe they are a god because they're treating me so well, and then you can't realize, when you look back on it in retrospect, at first, when they leave you, all you can think of is about all the amazing times and how much you miss it and how much you want it back because it was just the best thing that ever happened to you, which it might have been, because your life sucks. So you look back on it, and that's all you can think about is, the love bombing, the amazing times, and you can't remember all of the times that they treated you like nothing, because or sat beside you while you were crying yourself to sleep and just laughed at you, because you erased all those times from memory. You didn't, process them because you just felt like, no, I'm wrong, I'm stupid, don't even remember this because this is just stupid. You don't imprint anything into your long-term memory as significant, because you just, every thought you have, you push it out of your head, and you're like, no, you're wrong, no, you're stupid, no, you're dramatic, no, you're manipulative. And so you keep convincing yourself every day, they're perfect, they're perfect, they're perfect, everything they say is perfect and right. And so when you get out of that situation, like I said, you're looking back on all of the good times. And then when you finally start to unpack all of the bad times and you talk about it, you feel a lot of anxiety, and you feel scared because you feel like you're lying. You feel like you're wrong for telling your side of the story because they made you feel like you were. And you get backlash. You get people mad at you. You get less positive attention. Even people who don't say anything to you negatively, you stop getting positive attention because you look like you're crazy and you're dramatic, just like they said, and then it reinforces it because you think, I am crazy, I am bad, because everybody hates me now. But I'm just not afraid anymore. I'm ready to embrace my truth and get it all off my chest so that I can move past it. And talking about it like this, talking about it, helping myself process it and come to terms with it, helps me remind myself of what I do deserve. And I've got it, and I'm really happy. I've never been this happy. I've never been happy, period. So I'm just having a great time. And if I would never have gone through this stuff, I would have never gotten to where I am now. So I don't regret anywhere I've been, or who I've been with, or what I've done, or what they've done to me, because it's helped shape me into the person that I am, ready to give and receive love in a healthy way, which is what I'm doing now. And they, at some point they move on and do the same thing. And it's hard to see that going well for them, because, you, at the beginning, not right now, but at the beginning, I thought, that should be me. Why didn't I get that? Why are you treating them better than you treated me? At least it appears that way. And, it hurts. It hurts. But also, at the same time, you want to be happy for them, for them and their partner. You want to think, wow, I'm glad that they learned from our mistakes. I'm glad that they got better for that person, because that person, no one else deserves to go through that, what I did. You want to be glad that things got better for them and everyone else. And you know, if you did love them, they deserve happiness too, and obviously you didn't make them happy. But instead of blaming yourself for that, you should just think, you know, not everyone likes bananas. I do. Joe Schmo over here doesn't. And you shouldn't try to force him to eat a banana every day for the rest of his life if he doesn't like it. But that doesn't mean that a banana is bad or wrong for not making him happy. It's just not everybody's cup of tea. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But I have swallowed it. And I know this has been way too long already. But I wanted to read this poem that I wrote earlier today in this video, so I'm gonna read that, and then I promise I will shut up and stop talking, and you can go and continue enjoying your day if you ever even did watch this. Probably not, because this is long, and I doubt anyone has gotten this far, so I'm probably going to put this in the description, because this is probably the most important part of the video, so I'm just going to put it in the description and hope people read it. Okay. It's called It Was Never About Ketchup. I saw your face where his was last night. I thought you had come to leave again. I stared at his body, and it wasn't yours, as I tried to convince myself that you were already gone. I told myself you were never coming back, but you were right there in front of me, smiling and laughing as if you had never left. It rings in my ears. Goodbye. Goodbye. I froze in horror and shifted my glance to the floor. I heard his voice, but I felt you there still, like he was somewhere far away, calling to me, but even he couldn't save me from the person right in front of me. I shook my head like the vision would melt away, but still I heard your voice. Goodbye. Goodbye. Then his face broke through the fog like sun on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, and I should have been happy to see him. I wanted to be happy, but instead, I cried. Because I thought that I had come to just in time to see him leave me too. I folded up like a broken doll and shook, and I couldn't stop shaking and crying. It was happening again. Goodbye. Goodbye. But then he said, I love you. Hey, I love you. Liz, I love you. Can you hear me? And he held me. And he stayed. And we rocked back and forth, and I thought to myself how the best burgers I have ever had in my life were always smothered in ketchup. It wasn't the ketchup that made them good. That's just the way it was done. And mustard saved my life. It was all I lived for when I was barely living. When I was in the hospital fighting for my life, all I could think of was how much I wanted a turkey sandwich with mustard. Or a burger smothered in ketchup. And I never ate mayonnaise. Because the person who stole my entire life from me when I was just a child used to smother tuna in mayonnaise. And he made me eat it too until I threw up. And he wanted to make me well again by playing doctor. And all this comes to mind because you always told me how ridiculous it was to have a panic attack over ketchup. And I took that as tough love, and I beat myself up over it because I just couldn't put this concept into words that it wasn't just ketchup. It was love. Ketchup was safe. Ketchup was love. And when me and him eat burgers, we smother them in ketchup.